Hi, everyone. Sorry, I am trying really hard to go live on Instagram at the same time because I've been asked to. So I've never been on three screens simultaneously, except when I did a lecture down in Florida and they had me in this conference room with three TV things. So bear with me. I've got a lot to cover today. I am going to try to go live on Instagram as well. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm live. I think I'm live. Am I live? Can you see me on Instagram too? I'm on YouTube and Facebook. I'm not sure. It's not telling me if I am, so I'm going to get out of that and try one more time. So bear with me, folks. Maybe it's Reels. No, I want to do live. I don't have a title. I don't have time for that, and I'm not going to do any funny faces. Checking connection. Well, we're getting further than we got the last. Oh, and we are. So good afternoon, everyone. I am trying very hard after a request to go live on both YouTube and Facebook and Instagram today. This is Ask Maureen. It is the June 2021 edition. And if you haven't attended one of these before, it is all about you. It's all of the questions that you've submitted. I do have some other things to report on. Somebody asked me if I would report on how I'm doing getting all my home movies digitized. So we'll be doing that as well. What else? Oh, I have something to report. I got a little box in the mail. I'm signed up for something that's happening this summer that maybe you'd want to be. And I can wave at people. Look at that. Wow, I haven't done this before. And then I have a giveaway. I actually have a giveaway. So anyone who has participated in this will be entered into a drawing. The Genealogical Publishing Company has given me some copies of a book to give out on both the podcast and on these Facebook Lives. So if you are here, please say hi. Let me know how you're doing. Only one person's watching right now on Facebook, but I have a ton of people on Instagram. So maybe that's where I need to be lately. But anyway, so here's the thing. Let me get started since we have a lot to cover. If you're commenting on Instagram, I don't know if I can do 3 comment things all at the same time or not, but I will do my best. So these are questions that have been submitted this month. First, this came from someone. After scanning portraits, what to do concerning saving or discarding the cardstock photo frame or folders? Will that cardstock damage the photo long term? This is actually a really common question. So if you think about the photograph as an artifact, it's not just the image, but it is the holder as well. Now, we would never throw away a daguerreotype case, nor would we throw away a paper sleeve for a tintype. Gets a little tricky with paper photos, right? Because paper photos can be affected by the acid in the covering. But I tend to keep them because it gives us context for the picture. So I would hold on to it. So far, I'm not really seeing any damage from the sleeves that these images come in. Yeah, you do have to keep them because they sometimes do include photographer's information. Absolutely. And then somebody wanted to ask, what should I use to mark the back of unmounted tintypes? So tintypes are really tough, right? They're on iron and they are they're varnished, so it can be super difficult to see them. I am wondering if I am on Facebook Live as well. So give me just a second because I am not seeing that. Oh, yeah. See, that's the thing. I'm not on. I'll be right back. I'm going to go. I don't know if I can add this or not, but I should be on both. Let's see if I can open another tab. That's why I'm not seeing anyone. Nobody watches me on YouTube except afterwards. So bear with me. This has been an experiment. Oh, yeah. See, I want to enter the studio for this one, too. Yeah, here we go. Hopefully now I'm completely on. All right, so this is odd because I am somehow only in, now I'm only in Facebook. Very weird, very, very weird. So strange. All right, well, I don't know if I'm still live on YouTube or not, but I am definitely live on Facebook and I'm live on Instagram, and I thank you for all your patience. So the first question of this Ask Maureen June edition is, after scanning portraits, what to do with concerning saving or discarding the cardstock coverings. And I said you should keep them because sometimes they include photographers' information and it gives you context for the photo and can help you date the photo even. The other question I was trying to adjust before I had a technical difficulty and couldn't get on Facebook was, what should I use to mark the back of unmounted tin types? So it is pretty much impossible to write on the tin types, but I have seen people who like carve into the back of the tin type. This is just not a thing to do. What I recommend is that you put the tin type in an acid and lignin-free sleeve, like it could be a paper sleeve or it could be a polyester sleeve. And then you back that with a piece of cardstock and you write the identification on the back of that. Or alternately, you can put the identification on a small piece of paper. You can put the tin type and that small piece of paper with the label on your scanning device and scan the whole thing so that you also have a record of that identification with the image. If you're using memory web, for instance, you can scan the front, scan the tag, and then combine them into one single photo. So that works too. So that's what I would do for tin types because you can't really write on them. Now, this is Ask Maureen June edition, just to recap. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I really can't see the YouTube. For some reason, it wouldn't let me go live in both places at the same time. But on my phone, I'm on Instagram, where there's quite the audience, which is great. Someone asked, they said they inherited family pictures that are incredibly old, and this came from an Instagram question. Many of them are in old scrapbooks that are slowly deteriorating with age. She's sure that there are facts written on the back of many of the photos, but I'm torn about taking the albums apart. And that is the dilemma, right? Maybe, just maybe, things are written on the back. But in my experience, about 99% of the people never wrote anything on the back of those photographs. They pasted them in the album and then sometimes wrote underneath them with sort of white ink if it's a black paper album. So I don't advise people to take apart those black paper albums. I just don't, because they tell a story. If you're really going to do it, no matter what I say, and I could tell you stories of people who have done that, and it never ends well. Take a photograph of the entire page and then recreate the album in a new album, in a new acid and lignin-free album, and make sure you transfer whatever so that it's all in the same order, so that you retain that context and the story that that person put together on that page. I am scanning and saving documents for family archival purposes. What is the best way to title each picture when I save it? Oh, I'm thinking of doing an entire webinar on labeling images. What do you think? Raise your hand. I think it's a good idea. I get so many questions about it, and it really depends on the type of picture. So I'm going to dodge this question just a little bit. I have been scanning my lifetime of photographs that I hadn't done, things like, my childhood and things have been scanned, but this is sort of my adult life. And I find that I'm grouping them and labeling them and batch captioning them by what's happening in them, sort of like San Diego, 1981, But if you're talking about people, then I usually put the last name underscore first name underscore a middle name if you have it, if that can determine, like in my family, we have multiple generations of people with the same name. It's like crazy number of generations. Then a B for the birth date, year of the photograph, and then the computer numbering thing like 001 or 002, so that if you have several images. And of course, before you scan, you're going to batch everything. You really need to batch things in file folders so that when you scan all the pictures of your grandmother, you scan them all at once, so that computer numbering system makes sense. And you should definitely save as a TIFF. You can always go down a level, but you can't go up. So, do that. Somebody says, I know that this has been asked before, but what pen or pencil should I use to identify photographs? So you should use an acid, you should use, I'm trying to think if I have one right here. Yeah, you can use an ebony pencil. You can use a 6B or 8B pencil. The B is the operative word here. And I buy these at my local art supply store, and I can sharpen them in a regular pencil sharpener. If you're going to write on the back of resin-coated images, you can use something called a Stabilo pencil, which you can also get at art supply stores. Or you can use it's a photo signature pen that I buy by the box from Amazon.com. And they are quick drying, acid-free, all of the good things. And it says it right on the side of the pen. And I buy them by the box. That's the cheapest way to buy them. So if you have other people that are going to need stuff, let's do it that way. So again, I have a giveaway today, which is a book called History for Genealogists from the Genealogical Publishing Company. They've given me multiple copies of this to give away at a live event like this is, and also on the podcast. So don't be surprised if you get a ping that says you won, but then please send them your address because they're going to mail you the book for absolute free. I had a book a long time ago from GPC. One of the other things I want to talk about, and I don't know if I can share my screen or not comfortably, but History Camp, which was in episode 112 of the podcast. It's a way for adults to learn about history things. And last year, and they're going to do it again this year, they have a summer camp on July 10th. And I think it's going to be a fun one-day event. I actually sent away for my Camp America box, which came with a t-shirt, a hat, it looks like a tea towel or a bag. I haven't actually opened it yet. I have it here on my desk. I'm waiting so I can wear the t-shirt for History Camp. But that's coming right up, and I will put the link in various places so you have it soon. Any updates on my family movies I've sent out? So that seems to be the #1 thing that people want to hear about. I sent my home movies to scanmyphotos.com. They have been on the podcast before, Mitch Goldstone and his company. They do an excellent job of scanning, and they did an excellent job of digitizing. It took a long time to get stuff back because they're very busy. And it came back in a weird USB that looks like a key, which I had the hardest time getting into my computer. The only real negative I have to say about the Scan My Photos scanning job was that they gave me everything as an AVI file, a .avi file, and I really needed an MP4. I'm on a Mac. I had to download another program. It's a program I don't like using because it's been known to have some malicious stuff. And I had to do that to convert everything to an MP4, which is kind of annoying because I had a lot of movies. But other than that, they did a great job with it. Everything's in a single file. So I don't have to try to separate them. Then I went with a local company. The Hunt's Camera Store here has a relationship with a company called Retro, which is local. I'm in Providence, Rhode Island, and they're local to Rhode Island. And I had a ton of movies digitized by them as well. They did an excellent job with the scanning. I went back to them and brought a whole bunch of videotapes to them as well, and they did another great job. The only negative I have is when it's the videotapes, everything is a separate file. But all my films, all my home movie films, and they did everything as an MP4. They did everything in 1080 that I wanted. They ran them all together with just a single frame in between. So when I'm trying to edit, I have a hard time seeing it. When I project the MP4 on a movie screen that I needed, I actually bought it through Facebook Marketplace. Super simple. Cost me $35. I drove down to the woman's house. She put it in the back of my car. Off we go. I now have a movie screen that I didn't have before. Projected it. Then because it's playing, it's much clearer where the division is between the reels. So that's my negative. It has been quite costly, I will say, though. If you ask me how much I spent on all this digitization, it would be an eye-popping number. Every time I went out, it cost several $100s. But I'm glad I did it because I've had some home movie events with my mom and a cousin who's just a little bit younger than my mom. And we had a really good time laughing about all these things that we used to do and seeing family members that have been gone for a long time. So you can't put a price on that kind of memory. And, you know, it was COVID last year, right? I didn't go anywhere at all. So I feel like it was definitely worth the investment. That's how my home movie thing is going. I'm thinking of doing a whole webinar on dealing with your life, digitize your life, or dealing with the 20th century. I don't know, I go through different iterations trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But each one will have a different chapter on films and slides and Polaroids and things like that. All the questions that people send me. Somebody wrote in and said, I have a large collection of photos from my mother-in-law's school days. These photos have the names of most people in the photos identified. I also have a yearbook with frames and names. How do I get these online so people searching people in these photos can find them? Here's my advice. You can create a Facebook page for that class, and I recommend that you do it. That would be very helpful. You can put them all in a Google Drive folder and share that a million places as well. Maybe share it on and maybe share it. Where can you do it? So if you put it in the Drive, then you can share it on a Facebook page for maybe the town in which they lived or the historical society. It looks like my Instagram Live just died, so I apologize. There we go. And then I would also put it up on Dead Fred. He loves that stuff, and people, thousands and thousands of people still go on Dead Fred every week looking for pictures. We have one final question for this month's Ask Maureen, which is, forgive me if this is not the appropriate forum to ask, but perhaps you can put me in the right place. Our poor coal miner steelworker ancestors in the 1900s took quite large wedding photos. Where might one find the cost of a photo for this back then? I would check the newspaper, and I love those turn of the century huge group wedding portraits. Maybe I have to share some of them. I have over 250, I think, wedding pictures. I always meant to write a history of wedding photos, and then I never got around to it. But I have a lot of pictures. John is saying all of her schools already have a Facebook page, and they might want to do a search. Yeah, definitely search. And this Instagram thing is driving me nuts. And Becky wants to know if I've ever checked into Forever. Becky, yes, I have spoken to them. They have a good reputation. I am going to be doing some other things, deep diving into what they offer and what PhotoMine offers. I am now on the board of the Family History Metadata Working Group, a group I'm very happy to be associated with. And I definitely want to see all of these companies do more with metadata, just like MemoryWeb does and Lightroom. And I think Forever's on the list as well. They do a good job as well. And that's basically the information that you want to embed in that image. So with that note, I am going to wrap this up. I've never been live on 3 stations before, but I think I've done it. YouTube, Facebook, and I have Instagram over here on my left. attached to my ring light, and it's been quite the juggling act over here. If you have any questions, I do this once a month. By the way, the podcast this month, please check them out. I've got the wedding detectives from the BBC radio, and I just love them. They take wedding photos and then they research the people, and it is murder and mayhem. Let me tell you the stuff that they have discovered. It's Cole Morton and Charlotte Sibtain, who is Vintage Wedding on Instagram. So check them out. And in July, we have another rockin' lineup. So give it a try. Okay. Let's see. Give me a listen. Nobody's listening to podcasts now. Everybody's out and about, running around, doing things they haven't been able to do for a year and a half. But those of us that are still here doing podcasts, give us a listen. Listen to the Wedding Detectives. It's awesome. Visualizing Equality is another great one that I did at the beginning of the month, talking about African-American photographers and the images that they took and the way this helped with social movements. And then this past weekend, I featured a couple of collectors of photographs of men in love, sort of a controversial topic for some of my audience, but give it a listen because these are really important images and they have found a lot of them. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next month. I haven't picked the date yet. I'm taking some vacation time, if you can believe it. I'm going to a family reunion. It's been 3 years, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. You prefer my live videos? Well, we'll see what I can do more of those. Maybe I'll swap some of those in, John. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. And I'm waving to people on Instagram at the same time. I could see you on YouTube and Instagram, but not Facebook. Yes, that is, Heather Choplin asks what that flag is. I live in an 1896 house, and it took me a long time to find the right flag to hang in my office, and I really love it. I love having it there. It just, to me, says this is the kind of flag that would have hung in this house. And by the way, my house was built by a woman, like so many of the other houses in my neighborhood. Not physically built, but on the plaques, it's pretty much all women's names, which is pretty cool, I think. All right, thanks. I'm going to say goodbye now. Talk to you later. End the broadcast on Instagram. And check out History Camp.